Hey everyone, this is Allison with Green Goddess Plants and Seeds, and welcome to another garden chat today. So today I'm continuing with the transplanting outside while the sun shines. I'm going to be starting on the tomatoes today. It's about 15 degrees out here right now, and the forecast is for a high of 20 degrees Celsius. That's what, 70 Fahrenheit. So that's unusually warm for this time of year. But with that warm temperature, it's supposed to be getting very windy. So it is kind of breezier out here at the moment, but it's not too bad. So I thought I'd get some stuff done before that wind really starts to pick up. So this morning I had a bit of an accident, and I'm really mad at myself for this. I know I had a cell pack of tomato seedlings I had in the house. I had restarted. I had bought some viable seed for the Manitoba tomatoes along with some other cherry tomatoes, and I noticed today that they were just starting to emerge, and I thought, oh great, I will take them out to the greenhouse, and they didn't get any farther than the living room. I dropped them. So no one to blame but myself for that, for my own clumsiness. So the black cherry and the sweet 100s are probably going to be okay because the tags and the seeds themselves or the soil in the cell packs stayed in place. However, the Manitobas and the sun golds went everywhere. They'll probably still grow, but I'm going to have mystery tomatoes on my hands. Like, they might be Manitobas, they might be sun golds, I don't know. So, what do you do, right? What do you do? Stuff is going to happen like that. No matter how hard you try, there's always going to be something, right? Last year I ended up with a catastrophic shelf failure in my greenhouse. Like, I was using these shelving units. I'm sure you've seen them in the gardening center. Basically, it's like a mini greenhouse. So it's a single shelving unit with a plastic cover that zippers closed, and I had 3 of those shelving units inside my little greenhouse, and 2 of them I've had for a very long time, long enough that the plastic connectors are actually starting to break down on them. And so last year I had just finished transplanting a bunch of tomatoes. I put them in there for the evening, came out in the morning to find that one of the shelves had collapsed, and there was tomatoes and pots and soil and tags everywhere. So I had a whole bunch of mystery tomatoes last year. The ones that survived were mystery tomatoes because I didn't know what they were, because the tags went one way and the seedlings went another way. So, but what do you do, right? What do you do? So today, like I said, I'm working on the tomatoes. So we're going to start with carbon. There we go. Whoop. So there's my carbon seedlings. They're looking mighty fine. Tomatoes are one of those plants that actually will benefit from being planted fairly deeply, because they will root from the stem, wherever the stem is buried below the soil. They will actually root. So you can bury these right up to the top of the leaves. The trick is pushing them down in to the soil as far as you can go without breaking the stem. That's the key. Then that actually takes care of the legginess quite nicely. And since they will be out in the greenhouse, they should be fine in terms of not getting leggy again. So yeah, that was my morning, dropping plants everywhere, and oh well. You just got to move on when stuff like that happens, right? There's not else to do but move on from it. And I did reseed the Manitobas again. I basically planted out the last of the viable seed that I bought there a couple weeks ago, and we'll see what happens. Like, they'll probably grow. I don't know if they'll be ready for the plant sale. I hope so, because Manitobas are a very popular tomato, and I would like to have them for sale, but they might be okay, but they might be a bit on the small side. So we'll just have to see what happens, right? That's all I can do at this point. But I do have a couple other all-purpose red tomatoes growing. Like I have the Beaver Lodge slicers, which are really nice tomato. They're nice all-purpose tomato. And then I've also got one called Trophy, which is another heirloom, and it is actually a very good canning tomato, but it's also good for fresh eating. There we go. There's the carbon. I think I've got some tags ready here to go for the carbon. The carbon is it's a black tomato. I've never had it go really dark on me. Like some photos will have photos of it being quite dark, but I've never had it get that dark. But in terms of flavor, the carbon is probably my favorite for flavor-wise of the dark tomatoes, of the black tomatoes. I think if I had to choose between like Cherokee Purple, which is another very popular one, and carbon, I would definitely go with the carbon. I just like the flavor much better on it. Okay. Some tags. So I'll probably transplant as much as I can today, or until I run out of plants or I run out of potting soil, one of the two. And then hopefully by the weekend I can get some more potting soil, and I'll probably be starting some more seeds. So I'll probably be starting like all the cucumbers and the pumpkins. It might be a smidgen early for them, so I don't know if I'll do those or not. You know, because I want them to be ready for the sale, but at the same time, if you start them too early, they don't transplant well. So that's kind of the fine line that I'm trying to walk here with those. And last year I found that when I started the cucumbers, they just kind of sat. They came up, they germinated, they had, you know, those first true seed leaves on them, and they just sat there for a really, really long time like that. So I wasn't sure if it wasn't warm enough for them or if it was too warm for them. I don't know. I'm not sure why they just kind of sat there. So I was a little worried about them. So this is kind of why I was thinking, well, maybe I'll start them just a little bit early than I normally would. Okay, so there's the carbon. So the next one I'm doing here is called Feuerwerk, and it has a different spelling. Like there is one called Feuerwerk that has an English spelling, and this one has a German spelling for it, and which I will put down in the information section down below. But it was one of the first striped tomatoes that I grew. So, and it's become my favorite, and I really like the flavor of it, and I'll probably continue to grow it for a long time now. So, but it's always good to, it was one of those really interesting ones that when I saw it, I thought, oh, I gotta try that. So there's Feuerwerk. There we go. It is a larger tomato. It is a slicer. Okay, sorry about that. You know, the neighbors were starting to make a bit of noise, so I finished the tray of fireworks, and I'm going to water them in, and then I'll put them back in the greenhouse, and then I'll move on to the next tray. So the next ones that I'm going to be doing today are the Sartre-Rolloise and the Blue Fire. The Blue Fire almost looks like, it's very reminiscent of the Dark Galaxy tomato, if you've ever seen that one. And the Sartre-Rolloise, actually, when I first saw the photo of it, I thought it was like a white tomato with really dark antho coloring on the top of it, but it's actually supposed to be yellow. So we'll see what it looks like when it actually grows. But I do find that a lot of the white tomatoes aren't actually truly white. They usually end up being like a very pale yellow. So just something that I've noted from my own experience. Anyhow, so all right, so I've finished off that one cell pack of tomatoes, and I'm moving on to the next. I'm working on some black beauties and the Cherokee purples, Berkeley tie-dyes, and pink jazz I've got going on here. So yeah, we're having an unusually warm day today. Supposedly it'll go to 20 degrees. That's unusually warm for this time of year. So, and I've noticed the last couple of years that we seem to be getting a really hot weather, you know, in April, towards the end of April into May, And then when June, July hits, when we want our hot weather, it's actually kind of cool out. So I'm interested to see if that pattern will continue this year. Last year it was rainy. Up at the farm it was quite rainy and cool. You know, they had like a week straight of nothing but rain, and they had all sorts of flooding because of that. So it's the growing season has begun, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful to be out here. I got my cat out here, Shadow. He enjoys being out here. He's on a leash, of course, but cats and leashes don't necessarily go together very well. But he's adapted to it. I do have 2 other cats, but they're not outdoor cats at the moment. I think Jack would be, but he's kind of a scaredy cat. And I'm pretty sure Elsa would like to go outside, but she's got to have her spaying operation first before she's allowed out. Otherwise, she's going to come home with a belly full of kittens, and I don't want that. So, it's filling up these pots, these fiber pots. Got lots more tomatoes to do today. And I was busy this morning making display labels for them for the sale. So I'm hoping the sale will go well. I'm hoping there's no more, or the COVID restrictions aren't tightened up, and that we can actually have a sale. So my plan is to kind of do it garage sale style, so it's kind of all out either on the front lawn or on the driveway or something like that, so that people can just walk up and, you know, pick out their plants and pay for them, kind of thing. So all right, so that's all of the fiber pots I've got. So I'm going to grab some plastic ones here, and I'll fill up the rest of the tray with the black plastic ones. There we go. There's all sorts of little bits in the potting soil too. I just pulled out a great big huge clump of clay. I definitely didn't want that in there. All right. There we go. 4 pots across. Perfect. All right, so I've got some black beauties. I need to do a couple more tags up for them before I plant them in. I like to have my tags ready to go before I do too much. The black beauty, I first grew this, it was actually a friend of mine had actually gave me, I don't know where she went, but she bought this tomato. It was a single tomato, and she said, oh, it's called black beauty, you gotta try this. So I saved the seed from it. I ate the tomato, and it was quite delicious, and of course I saved the seed from it, so that's how I actually got the seed for the black beauty tomato. It was from a fruit that a friend of mine had actually given me. But, you know, that's kind of the neat thing about open pollinated tomatoes, is that you can do that. You can, you know, save seed from something that you either bought or somebody gave you a single fruit, and it's like, oh wow, it's delicious. And if you know that it's open pollinated, then you can certainly save the seed from it and then grow it yourself next year. That isn't to say you can't save seed from hybrids, but the thing with hybrids is that when you grow out the seed that you save, if it germinates, that seed is going to have all the mix-up of all the genetics of the tomato. And so when you grow them out, you don't know exactly what you're going to get. So it's a process of selecting for the traits of that tomato that you want. And that's how they do, and people do this all the time with hybrids that they like. They will go through a process of dehybridizing it. So it's collecting the seeds, growing it out over successive seasons, and continually selecting the seedlings that have those traits of that original hybrid. And then you end up with an open pollinated version of that hybrid. So it is a process. You can save seed from hybrids, but it is a process getting them to the point of where they're open pollinated and they will grow true. So there we go. All right, so there's some black beauties. Black beauties, just like that. Oh, it's so nice to hear the birds. The neighbors are relatively quiet. They were a little bit noisy a few minutes ago, but they seem to have all either gone to work or gone back inside. I don't mind living in the city. I enjoy it. It's where I grew up, so it's home to me, but I have to admit, I do like the peace and quiet of the farm. It is definitely a nice change from the constant din of traffic that you can hear in the background here. All right, so there's Black Beauty. I need 2 more tags for the Black Beauty. 1 and just 1 more tag. All right. All right, there we go. So next up is the Cherokee Purple. Oh, and there's Shadow. There's my cat Shadow walking by. So the Cherokee Purples are a very popular heirloom. Lots of people love them. They're okay. Like I said, I think I prefer the carbon to the Cherokee Purple, but whatever, to each their own, right? So this is what I'm doing today. So more transplanting. And I guess I'll be doing this until either it gets too windy, or until I run out of plants, or until I run out of potting soil, and then I'll move on to the next task at hand. So I hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you have time to take a step outside and enjoy the sunshine and the air and listen to the birds. So until next time, you take care.